Morning, fellas. Welcome back to the vlog. How are we all doing? Monday morning. I thought we'd do like a bit of a story time for today's vlog because a lot of people are still asking the question, how did I end up here? How did I end up doing social media? How did we end up with the pub? What was I doing before? So let's talk about that because it's kind of like a good introduction to why I'm doing, how I got to the position where I'm doing daily vlogs and why am I doing them and how did we start TikTok and how did we build our Instagram. So we'll start back before COVID. That's probably the best place to start. So before COVID, I was working for a signage company called Technical Signs. I've done signage all my working life, ever since I left school at 16. I went to college for a year, didn't work out for me. I left off school off GCSEs, went to college, did travel and tourism, didn't like it, was lying on my sofa. My mum said, get a job, else I'm going to get you a job. I applied for an apprenticeship in a sign company and I never looked back. I did signage for the rest of my career and I loved it. I loved every aspect of it. And I ended up working in Watford for a company called Technical Signs. This is just before COVID, as a project manager. And I absolutely loved it. I loved my job. I love the people. I love the work. I love the people I worked with. I love the people that I worked for. It was great. Fantastic job. My main clients were ZZ, which is weird. I'll come to that in a bit. ZZ, Ask Italian, and Coco de Mama. So they're all owned by the same company. And then I also used to look after a pub company based mainly in Kent called Shepherd Neame. So my job basically entailed ZZ was the main one. They used to go around updating all their signage for all their stores. So we used to do 4 stores a month mainly. We used to do a couple of Ask Italians every month. We do a Coco de Mama once a month, maybe a brand new store, and I do a couple of pubs. Kept me really busy. It was great. I was out and about all the time, traveling up and down the country, and it was great. And then February, was it 2020, COVID? I think it was. I'm not really going to give you dates and years and stuff because I can't remember because the last like 5 years seems a bit of a blur. But I think it was 2020. February, COVID hits. What's the first thing to go? Restaurants. Hospitality is hit probably the hardest of any industry. And obviously restaurants and pubs just stopped spending money. So I was basically sat at my desk and in front of me was the board of all of our jobs. And I just remember that was that 1 week before kind of Boris announced the lockdown. One by one, jobs just got taken off the board as companies said, sorry, we're pulling all the jobs, And you were just looking at your jobs going. And then that was it. Finished. Everything was off the board. All the pubs and restaurants were like, didn't know what was going to happen. And then there was the announcement from, I'll tell you what happened first, actually. The company got shut down, but there was that announcement about furlough. So the furlough announcement came. My boss, who owned the company, he shut the company down. Said, "That's it. I don't know what's going to happen. You're all furloughed," and that was that. We were off. So I was like, I genuinely thought that was the end. I thought I don't see how we come back from that. We're screwed, basically. So I was kind of a bit miffed, and then I suddenly thought, wow, we've just got to crack on. And I happened that day to go to the butchers, Beef Olive, local butchers. Tim, who owns Beef Olive, I've known him for quite a while. Our kids go to school together. And I went there, and if you remember at that point, shops were just queuing out the door. And he had the same. He had a massive queue. And I queued up, just wanted to get some chicken. And I just have a chat, really. And I got to the front of the queue. "We got any chicken thighs?" And he just looked at me, "We haven't got anything." But he did, to be fair, he was holding some chicken thighs back, probably for himself. But he's just that kind of guy that he gave me some chicken thighs. And I said, "What's going to happen? You're shutting the shop." And he said, "Yeah, they tried to stay for as long as possible, but essentially they got to shut the shop." So they took their business online. And I said, "Look, listen, I've been furloughed. I ain't doing anything. If you need someone to do your deliveries, let me know." And the next day, he phoned me up and said, I need someone to do the deliveries. So we basically worked out, I went off, did all his deliveries. He paid me in meat, which was absolutely fantastic. And if you remember, during lockdown, the weather was sensational. So we were just barbecuing every night. And listen, this isn't I'm not saying lockdown was great for everyone. Of course it wasn't. It was horrendous for a lot of people. However, my experience of lockdown was fantastic. I had a fantastic time. Well, I got to basically before lockdown. So Dulcie, what should she have been? She'd have been about 5 when lockdown started. I didn't really know her because I was leaving before she got up. I was getting home after she got to bed, and I never really saw her. And that lockdown, our relationship grew so much. I got to spend so much time with her, and the boys as well. We had a lovely time. And like I say, I'm not saying I know, and obviously I know a lot of people died, and it was horrendous, and COVID was horrendous and awful. I'm just being honest about my experience, how it helped us as a family grow even stronger. I mean, we've always been a really tight unit, me, Mrs. May, and the kids, but that just brought us together even closer. So that's how we tootled along. We went through obviously all the homeschooling. Mrs. May took the brunt of that because I was out, and the reason I realised I needed that is because I needed structure. I really struggled without the structure of having something to get up for in the morning. Having to get up, go and do the meet round, get back about 2 o'clock. It gave me a structure, and also during that time, I started doing a lot of weights, and I was starting to feel really. I lost a lot of weight during the lockdown, a lot of weight. So I was feeling really good about myself. Anyway, as time progressed, obviously the pubs started opening up again. Technical Science, my old company, they started. Well, actually, what am I talking about? So, also during this time, during lockdown, I noticed the kids, the boys in particular, were looking at TikTok a lot. I didn't know anything about TikTok at this point. So, as I always do, I showed a bit of an interest. So I downloaded the app, started having a look, and I started realising that there's not just kids on this app, there's also adults on this app. And I noticed a lot of people were doing this. Obviously, there was a lot of lockdown videos on there, but there was also some foodie ones on there. So this was about 9 months into lockdown, so I missed the big boom where people picked up loads and loads of followers off the back of lockdown, because obviously everyone was just at home, they didn't have anything else to do. So I thought, well, I've got this amazing food, I love cooking, so I just started posting the kids' dinners, just making dinners, and I started posting them. And I posted daily for a month. A good month I posted every day. And slowly but surely I started picking up a few followers. And I got to put a massive shout out to Charlie and his mates, because every time I posted a video, they would all go on, comment, share. And that kind of got my videos going a bit at the start. And then I slowly started building up 10, 15, 20 regular people that liked and shared and commented on my videos. And it grew from there. And Mrs. May said, what? Because I started getting kind of addicted to it. I loved it because it gave me a focus, something to focus on. But also with that came this need to get a video out every day. And I kept on dropping my phone in gravy and custard. And my phone was a piece of crap as well. And I was really struggling to get the videos done. And I had no storage. And it was a nightmare. And I'd get really stressed about editing the video and the need to get a video live because some person I didn't know was waiting for a macaroni cheese recipe. And I was like, what am I doing? And Mrs. May was like, where does this end? What are you doing? I said, look, I really want to get to 10,000 followers. If I get to 10,000 followers, that'll be me done. And I can I'll probably knock it on the head. But obviously 10,000 followers at that time also meant you can get into the creator fund. So you can start getting a little bit of money for the content you created, which was also kind of a bit of a goal in some respects. So anyway, after 3 months, I did finally hit 10K. And I thought, that's really cool. I mean, that was cool. That was a big moment for me. And I thought, do I stop or do I keep going? And I thought, well, there's no point stopping. But I felt like I could relax a little bit. And I think that was a big start. Being able to relax, improve the content, I think. So I hit 10K after about 3 months. Literally, within a week, I'd hit 20K. And I was like, what the hell's going on? I didn't do anything differently. I just it was just a subtle change. I'd also gone from, I was actually on camera by this point as well. A lot of stuff I did before was just my hands. I was now on camera. I mean, my early videos are funny, really funny. I'm so awkward. But obviously, it's all a learning curve, isn't it? I was a really shy kid. I'm not shy anymore. But I did used to be really shy, and it took quite a bit for me to get in front of the camera. But once I was in there, I was absolutely fine with it, and I'm perfectly comfortable with it now. So we hit 20K followers, and then it was just a gradual process. I was hitting those marks quite quickly, 30, 40. And then it was like, Christ, we're doing all right here. And then I remember I got to about 50K, and I started getting some free stuff sent through. and people started inviting us to I think Honest Burger or Shake Shack were like one of the first people that like reached out and said, would you like to come and try our food? I was like, yeah, all right. And they were like, you can have 2 mains and this. Just do a post for it. I was like, I could do that. So I drove to Brent Cross. We all had a Shake Shack, and I videoed it. The video did quite well. They loved it. And every month they invited us back to try their new menu. I was like, right, free food, awesome. Just for showing my food, I'm getting food, and we're taking the kids out. And then Honest Burger, they reached out. So all of a sudden we were kind of like getting bits and bobs, and I was still working at this time. And I also started videoing my breakfasts and my lunches. Sorry, no, what am I talking about? I told you I was losing track of time. So as I was going, so I had got about 50, 60,000 followers, and then work started picking up again. And my old company phoned up and said, look, there's some work coming in. Do you want to come back to 2.5 days a week? I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, sounds good. So obviously, I was furloughed, so I had to go. Oh my God, I'm forgetting so much stuff. I got made redundant. What am I talking about? Right, so the government were going to stop the furlough. And so we had to go through this whole thing where I had to kind of like do interviews, and I got graded at my company. But I was the last project manager in, so I knew if they were going to get rid of one, it would definitely be me. So the government stopped the furlough. So unfortunately, Technical Science had to make a decision. They made me redundant. It's like, oh shit, I didn't get much redundancy money because I hadn't been there very long. But I thought, well, these things happen for a reason. I'll find another job. I've been in signage for a long time. I know what I'm doing. It'll be all right. So we kind of muddled through. Mrs. May was doing shitloads of tutoring during COVID as well, because loads of people wanted tutoring. So she was basically keeping us going. She was keeping the family going. And then all this was going on. And then eventually work picked up. Technical Science came back to me and said, would you like to come back 2.5 days a week? So I said, yes, that'd be great. So I went back 2.5 days a week, but obviously I was also still had the social media. And I went back to my old job. I was traveling up and down the country, and I started doing a breakfast video every morning. And then I started doing a lunch video every day. And I used to go to all these different places. I'd say, right, I'm in Bristol today. Where's a good place to go for lunch? That was my morning video. And then I'd get all the recommendations. I'd do my meeting. I'd go and find the place. I'd eat my lunch, do a video on it. And then I would post a dinner video. So it was like, I was doing like 3 videos a day. And then it got to the point where, obviously the social media was getting bigger and bigger. I think I was up to about 100K by this point. And everyone at work, all my clients, they all knew about this kind of side hustle, social media. But it was quickly becoming a bit more than a side hustle. I was now doing all right out of the Creator Fund, and I'd actually started doing some brand deals. I think my first one was with Snaffling Pig, pork crackling. So that was great. So I mean, I think it was about 300, 400 quid. It wasn't a lot, but it was, it was all of a sudden, hold on, we can actually properly monetize this. Once you get to 100K, it felt like it opened up quite a few doors. So I had to make a decision, and obviously because everyone knew I was doing social media, the eyeballs of work and clients was on me. If I ever made a mistake, it was like, well, he's doing too much social media. And I remember very clearly, I went to a meeting in Sheffield, and I got stuck in terrible traffic, and I was late. And I hadn't done a breakfast video that day because I was late, because of the traffic. And I didn't want to miss the meeting, but I did. I was about 5 minutes late into the meeting. I walked in, and the guy who was doing the meeting said, oh, here he is. Maybe if you don't do a breakfast video, you won't be late. And I thought, right, that's it. I'd always said to myself, one comment would be one comment too many. And from that point on, I didn't create any content during work time. Not that it ever took away from my work time. I always filmed on my lunch break or like in a morning break, but I didn't want those comments, so I just completely stopped filming anything during the day. And that was the best thing that could have happened, because I then started a coming home video. So I used to drive home from work, I used to pull up on the drive, I used to get my camera, what is for dinner tonight? And then I'd go in the house, Bailey, our dog, would be at the front door, and then I would walk around the house, talk to Mrs. May, talk to the kids, talk about what's for dinner. I would then make the dinner, film it for my Daddy May Cooks channel, and then I'd do plate up races for all the kids on my It's Daddy May channel. Also at this time, Cooper was starting to go out to see his girlfriend, so he was coming home. He had a curfew of like 10 or half 9, I think. He used to come in. I used to film him coming in. If he missed his curfew by a couple of minutes, we used to make a bit of a funny thing about it. And those videos blew up. Literally, we were putting on 30, 40k a day at one point from these videos. And the It's Daddy May channel, which now has 1.9 million followers, just went mad. And we were picking up brand deals. It was great. It was really, we were doing really, really well. So the side hustle of social media had suddenly become way more than a side hustle. It basically overtaken my job in terms of money. However, I was still managing to do both quite easily alongside each other. Fast forward, I then, loads of stuff happens in this time. I get the black card at ZZ, which was amazing, which is weird though, because obviously they were my client. I was doing work for them, conflict of interest. I got taken off of the ZZ contract. I don't know if it was because of that, but no one really ever explained it to me. But I got this amazing job for doing IMO car washes. I had this whole project. It lasted about a year. We had to rebrand. I think we did 8. No, I think we did about 110 in the end. All up and down the country, up in Scotland, all the way down to Watford. That was like my reach. We did them all. It was an amazing project. It lasted about 9 months, and it got to October. The project ended, and it was supposed to start again in January. And I sat down with my boss, and he was like, "Right, what are we going to move you on to next?" I said, "Well, as you know, I do social media. I've got this social media thing. Can I take a 3-month sabbatical and see how I get on doing social media full time, and then come back in January, or not come back in January?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's fine." I mean, he's a great guy, he's a legend. So he was like, "Yeah, that's fine, let's just do that." I was like, "Right, cool." So we did that, and I remember, so that was I left on a Friday. Monday, right, shit, I'm now full-time social media. So I said to Mrs. May, like, what we're going to do, we've got to create some content. So, right, so we started going, we thought, right, we'll go for a couple of brunches. So the Monday, went for a brunch, and then we got home about 11, and I literally didn't know what to do with myself. And this is what I was talking about earlier about structure of a day, having something to get up for. And it was really tough. And I think after 3 days, I said to Mrs. May, I can't do this. I said, I'm going to have to go back to work, because it's just not for me. It's not for me. So I remember I phoned my boss up. I said, "Look, I'm coming back. I can't do it. I need to work." It was like, "Fine, yeah, so come back." Subsequently, I also at that point saw an advert for the Russell Arms, the pub I'm currently sat in, and it had come available. It's a community pub. It had come available, and I thought, I had no interest in running a pub. It was not something I'd ever really thought of, but I thought, that does really fit the content really well. It'd be a great journey running a pub. We don't know what we're doing. People would be quite invested in it. It will create new content, and it will also give me something to do. And hopefully it will give us a viable business for when social media finishes, because who knows, you never know. So I went for it. I applied. I came and spoke to the directors. They were interested. There was a lot of other interest. We got down to the final 3. I had to do a business plan. It was an interesting business plan. I would love to share it with you, but I can't. Anyway, we got the pub. They said, "Yes, we'd love for you to do it." I was like, "Shit, okay." So that was the curveball, basically. That was it. So I was like, "Right, let's go for it." So my boss again was really understanding. He was like, "No worries, off you go, do your thing." I remember I went to the Christmas do. That was kind of like my final goodbye. And then that next March, we opened the Russell Arms. And that's kind of what we've been doing for the last, coming up 2 years in March. I could talk at length about running a pub, and I will probably do that in next videos, but that's not what this video is about. I've kind of lost track of what this video is about, actually. So by that point, obviously we had the pub, and I was now full-time social media. I had a cooking channel with 1.5 million followers, and I had the It's Daddy May account with 1.9 million followers. And in my head, I thought, we've got the pub. What I can do is I'll go in the pub. I'll make cooking videos for the Daddy May Cooks channel every morning, because I've got my own like theatre kitchen where I can film stuff, and all the pub content can be on the family channel, and we could just create content around that. It's gonna be brilliant. I haven't done one single cooking video in that kitchen because I haven't stopped doing stuff for the pub or other stuff since we opened this place, which has been great, but that was quite naive. And I've barely cooked a dinner since we opened the pub, just because it's so busy. We're so busy. We're so busy in great ways. I moved management in this time. I used to be with a management company called PWR Management. They were brilliant. They were great. They were lovely. They got me loads of brand deals. We did great stuff. However, I felt like it would need a change. I'm now with Connect Management, and again, they are amazing. Amazing. I can't, they're fantastic, and they have kept us busy the whole time. We've done so many cool brand deals, and I've been to so many amazing events, and it's opened so many doors for me, for Mrs. May, for the kids. So social media has been great for us. It's changed our lives. It's literally changed our lives in so many good ways. I mean, we were properly on the balls of our asses when the kids were young. I used to do 4 paper rounds every morning before I went to work, and that used to get me £110 each week. And then I remember we used to get paid on a Saturday, cash from the paper round. We used to go straight to Tesco and buy the weekly shop, which used to be somewhere between £95 and £105. So I used to get it, and this was 7 days a week. I used to do that paper rounds. I used to hand it straight over. It was so depressing, but it makes us so thankful now for what we have. But don't let anyone tell you social media isn't hard work. Everyone can do it. I definitely got in that, but it is hard work, particularly when you're trying to build. It is a slog, and it can be a toxic place at times, but it's also great fun. And I wouldn't change anything. But I mean, I'm very thick-skinned. I don't care about what people say about me. Obviously, I care about what people say about the kids and about Mrs. May. But I mean, but we've been very lucky throughout this that we haven't had a lot of that, and we've had a lot of support, and the support has been amazing. And we couldn't be more thankful for the people that follow us and the people that like the stuff we do. And this brings us now to the daily vlog. I'm trying to expand out into other platforms. So we've got TikTok. Instagram kind of looks after itself. I'm trying Facebook now, which is going pretty well. And now YouTube seems like the next normal step. But I would love to do more. I'd love to do, I really want to do a podcast. I really want to do a podcast with me and Mrs. May. I think we would really enjoy that. And I've got lots of other ideas of stuff that we can do. There's a second pub potentially in the offing, which would be a sports pub, sports bar local to us, which again, I'd love to do. We've got the golf channel, which I love. Golf is a real passion, and I get to do that with the boys, so that's really good fun. So we've got that on YouTube, we've got that on Instagram, and we've got that on TikTok. That's going really well. Mrs. May's got her own stuff going on with her fitness and her weightlifting. We're both running the London Marathon in April, so that'll hopefully kickstart the Macmillan fundraising again. So that's kind of where we're at. I can't really remember how I started this or what I was going to tell you. I've missed loads out, and I'm sorry it was a bit of a ramble, but I'm not great with the dates of what happened where, timeline. Maybe I should write a timeline down, like the Avengers, like like Marvel, a Roly May timeline of how it happened. It's probably not a bad idea, actually, just for me. I probably should have done that before I did this video, actually. But anyway, that's kind of... So now this is where we're at. That's us. And anything else you want to know, stick it in the comments, and I'll try and do some reply videos to those as well. Because there's always interest. People are always kind of interested about how it started and what got us going and what we do and how we work things. So, but for now, I think that... Oh my God, I've been talking for 23 minutes. I can't believe that. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully that's answered a few questions, or probably actually has created more questions than answers. But I'll see you all tomorrow. This is today's daily vlog. Hopefully it'll be posted about 6 o'clock. Make sure you're subscribing. Press the bell button. Charlie always tells me to say that. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your parents. Tell anyone you want. I want to try and get to 100,000 subscribers. That is my dream on YouTube. I'm going to post every day for 30 days, see where we get to. Obviously, I know we're not going to be anywhere near 100,000, but that's the ultimate goal, 100,000 subscribers. I think we're on 2.5 at the moment, so we're 2.5% of the way there. So it's definitely achievable, but it's going to be a bit of a slog. But I reckon we can get there maybe by this time next year. Let's put that as an achievement. Let's try and get there by end of November or before Christmas next year. But for now, anyway, that's me checking out. See you tomorrow.